Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hi, and welcome to the Persistence Payoff Show. We're here on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm your host, Kimberly Schafer. I'm the inventor of the Ring Thing, which is a waterproof patented ring holder. I'm a first-time entrepreneur and creating this next chapter in my life. This show is focused on the quality of persistence and the payoffs that it brings to us in our lives, and that can cross both our personal and our professional lives. I'm really interested in the relationship between courage and persistence. Other people have said that when we're faced with challenges, courage is not having the absence of fear, but the willingness to do it anyway. So I really love hearing the stories of people who have pushed through their fears to achieve their dreams and their goals. It really inspires me, and I love hearing about it and sharing it. So that brings me to our guest today. I'm very excited to introduce you to Glenda Benevides. She is a Grammy-nominated singer and songwriter, the author of 4 books, a podcast host, and a philanthropist, and much more. She has traveled internationally and performed internationally with her singing, and she has won film festival awards for her scores for different films. So please help me welcome Glenda to the show.
Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, Glenda. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you. And happy almost Christmas Eve.
Yes. Happy almost Christmas Eve. So you have such an amazing array of talents. It's really impressive. And I'd like to just start with your journey as a singer-songwriter. Can you tell us how that evolved? Is that something that was your dream from being a young girl, or did it evolve more organically?
Well, it takes, I'll have to take you back 100 years. I think it was one of those things where I just always knew. I don't know how to explain it. And I was in a time where I was fortunate enough to be in school when there was music and it was free and there had teachers inside the curriculum. So I didn't have to go outside to get lessons or anything like that. And so I think it just started that way. And I just found that I had an aptitude for singing. And so I just kept singing. And, next thing you know, you're in the swing choir, then you're in the top choir, the large choir, you're in this choir, and it just kind of evolved and developed through that. And then my first actual gig, so to speak, paid gig, was when I was 16. And it just, from that moment on, that's just what I do. I don't know. It was never in my mind that I wasn't going to sing or make music or do any of that. And then, of course, you go through phases in life and you just put one foot in front of the other and just keep doing it. And then you adjust and then you take a right turn and then you go left, that type of thing. So.
Yeah. Interesting. And was the songwriting, did that develop along with your singing at the same time, or did that come later?
Not at first. So it really showed up, I think, out of a desire to express the pain and the challenges that one has as a young person, either conflicts with, for me, it was conflicts with my own hormonal bombardment, looking back, and and your challenges with your parents, and all those angsty feelings that you have, and the guy that plays guitar that you fell in love with, you have a crush on. So it kind of started from there, and then you just got to write about it. You got to write the song. I mean, I think I remember my very first song that I ever wrote. I think I was like 13 or 14, and it was super simple. It was, "I love you. I love you." And that's like kind of how it started. And then yeah, and then I mostly, from that moment on, I mostly focused on um in how to be an entertainer, how to be a good singer, how to, that type, and really evolve myself in those directions. And it wasn't until I circled back around in, I think 90, that's when I really started to go, okay, I think I want to sustain my life in my music career. So at that point on the planet, it was, you don't do cover music anymore if you want to get ahead. If you want to be with a record company or whatever, you have to do your own music. At least that's how it was in the 90s. So that's kind of how that started.
Wow, interesting. Well, thank you. And now if we jump ahead to the present time, you are nominated for a Grammy for your collaboration on the album The Fury with Antonio Vergara, I believe. And
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the album and how that collaboration evolved?
Sure. Well, pretty interesting, actually. We have to kind of back up a little bit, but a few years back, about 3 or 4 years ago, I was kind of going, how do you become a Grammy winner? And I was like, I've been in the music industry for 30 odd years. Why, so I literally got online and I started looking, how do you become a Grammy? Da, da, da. And then all the information came. You get on the website, Grammys.com. And I started to realize there was a whole process in order to not only win a Grammy, but just to become what they call a Recording Academy voting member. So there's a whole process with that. And I had no idea. It's one of those things where you innocently, blindly go into something and you go, I don't know, let me just do that, and then you realize, oh my God, there's 50 million steps to this, and it literally is, you're on the first rung, when you start down that path. But it's been very fruitful for me, I think, because my main intentions by joining the Recording Academy was to be connected to other like-minded artists that were writing music, that were making a difference. We work on legislation. We help younger students, Grammy University, we help them, we mentor them, that type of thing. As a mature artist, there's insider tips to everything in anybody's business. So it's the same thing. So really getting involved in that, my intention really was to network and connect with like-minded spirits, and talented individuals on the level that I want to play on. And so that's kind of how it started. And let me tell you, it's a process. So there's a lot involved. Yes.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And, one thing as I was reading about the album that I'm curious about is, if I read correctly, it was released at the end of August of this year.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot to answer that question. So anyway, when I'm apologize, Kimberly.
No.
So when I jumped in the Recording Academy, right? So I'm like 3 years in, and I'm promoting my own music and that type of thing. And you're learning as you go how this works, right? Somehow, I got to ask Antonio, somehow he found me, saw me, he listened to my music, probably because it was up for a Grammy. So he listened to it and he was like, oh my gosh, I want to have her on my album. So he reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to work on the album? And I was like, sure, why not? Because that's how I am. Sure, let me send it to me. Let me listen to it. So he sent me the track that he wanted me to work on. And I kind of was sick a little bit. And I thought, oh man, and it's really a good track. And so I reached back out to him and said, sure, I'd love to work on the track and I want credit for this, that type of thing. And because I actually created the melody, he wrote the music and the lyrics, but I created the melody for it. And of course I sang on it, and the song is called The Rebel's Right, is the actual track on the album that I participated in. So that's kind of how it started with. He just reached out to me and said, I'd love for you on the album. And I said, sure, why not? And then next thing I know, if you want me to tell you what happened. So, when you're voting, the first round of voting, of course, I voted for myself in the roots category. And then I voted for him on that album in the contemporary blues category. And so first round, we did all our voting, and I get on, so I wanted to check the list and see who made it, right? So I'm checking my song, no. Checking my other song, no. Second, my third song, no. And then I go, oh yeah, let me check Antonio's. And it was like, yes, we're nominated. Oh my God. And it still hasn't really sat with me, but he's such a fabulous person, and I'm so grateful to be on the album. I'm grateful that he got the nomination, and he's worked really hard for it. So the album is pretty extraordinary. So
yeah, I heard a couple of the tracks, and I agree it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So for those of us who are not in the industry, I'd love to hear more about how the voting works. Like, for example, when I saw that came out in August, I'm wondering, does that put your voting at a disadvantage compared to somebody who came out in February, where people have had more time to hear the album or become familiar with it? And how do you navigate getting it out there for people to consider?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was something I thought about too myself. A lot of times, I'm sure there's a strategy, because there's a strategy to everything. But I never, this year with my music, we were late. Like, we were just all the way up to the deadline, because I was working with a producer in the UK. So that was really challenging. I was like, I'm sweating, this needs to happen now. I don't know different people's voting patterns. Like, for me, I was really clear who I was voting for. And so soon as voting opens, like for second round, which is where we're in now. So second round goes until, I think it's January 12th. I need to look that up again. Yeah. So second round, I voted right away. So like, I just don't need anything on my plate. I have other projects that I'm doing. I'm singing, I've got voice lessons. I got all kinds of stuff that's on my plate. Plus, I'm prepping and planning with my PR person for Grammys in February. And then we have our own chapter nomination party in Jan. And so, you're like, there's so many things you're doing. I'm doing interviews now, doing more interviews, not just with my PR person in Canada, which this is what this is from. But, I have a PR person in LA, and, there's all these things that you prep for, parties and all. It's crazy. A lot of things to keep track of. And then, you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward and, connect with the right people and, just show up and shine, basically. So there's a lot to be involved. So for me, I got to get stuff done. Like, I don't wait till the last minute for voting. So that's just how I do it. So
that makes sense. And will you be at the award show? I believe it's February 2nd. Are the Grammys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be there probably like a week and a half beforehand, just because there's a lot of events. I'm going to the Golden Globes. My PR woman has me at the Golden Globes, so I'll be getting an interview there. That's actually next week, I think. So I'll take a quick trip to LA and then come back. But then, we're just prepping interviews. Like, it's crazy. It's like once you hit a nomination, it's like, people want to know. They want to have a conversation about it, and it's actually quite fun to share the process. because it's like a magic, for most of us, even those of us in the industry. It's like, how does it happen? It's like an insider group. It's
Yeah.
it's like until you get there. It's like So, it's really really interesting, and it's fun, and it's like with any club, or any corporation or any business. There's levels to it, there's protocol, there's so much involved. So
Yeah. Oh, I
mhm.
can only imagine. And do you feel so now you're in this wonderful situation of being nominated for a Grammy? And when you look back over your career, were there times that you felt like giving up, like in terms of persistence? Were there challenges that you had to persist through? And when you look back now, are you grateful that you did that? Does it feel worth it that you went through all of that?
Yeah, daily. I want to give up daily. Well, there's different things, because, and I love when you said persistence, because if you are on your right aligned purpose and path, if you are doing that, yes, those things will come up. You'll want to feel like a fraud. You'll want to feel like, you'll feel like all kinds of things that show up, and then life happens, and, you have a fight, or people pass away, there's all kinds of stuff, right? That just throw in your path. And, it's like, what are you going to do with it? That's really the thing. You have to like look from that place. And if you are in your right purpose and your right path, and those things show up for you, basically what happens is you say, okay, and then you give up for a few seconds, and then you're back on. You just get back up on the horse. And I think that's the key, because we're all human, we all go through those things, and it's really important to just acknowledge where you're at, just like, I don't feel like it today, or I'm sad, or I'm angry, or I feel discouraged, whatever shows up for you, and it's okay. And there's been many times where I literally looked in the mirror and said, you're too old, you're too this, you're too, just negative self-talk, and you should just give up now. I've had many of those conversations, and then I just leave the room and go, there were moments I just said, okay, I quit. I literally walked out of my office, shut the door, and said, I'm done. I'm not going to do music. And this was probably 15 years ago or something. And I just said, no, that's it. So I literally like let go of the pressure and let go of the make go of the blame, and walked out, shut the door, went off for the day, came back, and I was like, really? Is it really? Are you really going to quit? Like, really? And then I said, no, I don't want to quit. And it's okay. It's part of the evolution process in your own being, your own self. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And it also sounds like it's really important that you gave yourself space to feel that. I quit.
yes.
I'm just giving myself that space. And then as you reflected on it, you came back around, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. And how, do you do mantras or affirmations? Are there tools that you use to sort of help with your self-talk?
I burn bushes. No, I'm joking. Um, um, yeah, I do several different things. I listen to things that um, I balance the dark and the light. So I don't go, everything is fabulous, and be an angel and all that other stuff. And I just like, no, there is darkness, there is sadness, there is stress, there is all these things, and I let myself go into those things, and then I pull myself back out, just back in alignment, remembering why I'm here, what what service I'm here for, and how do I support not only myself but other people. Like, what is that for me? And it evolves, right? So it's not like who I was 10 minutes ago, who I was 2 years ago is not necessarily who I am today. There's part of that, yes, and you have to. It's just like getting, a Grammy or finishing an album or getting on stage, or there's all these things that they're always vehicles to yourself. They're always a reflection. They're always, where am I now? Where do I want to go? What's available for me, and how can I be that contribution? How can I support the greater good, the greater whole in my community, on the planet, and for me, that's been, writing music mostly and entertaining people. And what I found a few years back in about 2018 was that I was going to write a book. And it started out like, it started out with Global Badass Goddess. So a girlfriend of mine in my kitchen said, you're a badass goddess. And I was like, no, I immediately wanted to say no. And I stopped myself and I said, don't do that. This is her way of acknowledging you, and embrace that, and then find out, what does that mean? What does that mean for you? What I realized was that she saw something in me that she wanted to develop in herself, or that she admired. And I just thought that was amazing. And I reformulated what a badass means: beautiful, accessible, daring. It just took it as an acronym, and I just rewrote it, revamped it. And then after that, I sat back and I said, well, what does it take to have what that woman said I was? Well, I said, well, it takes clarity, it takes courage, it takes confidence, it takes commitment, and it takes community. And I went, oh, that's interesting. I thought, okay, well, that's kind of valuable. And so I decided to write my first book with that: Courage, Find Your Fire and Ignite Action in Your Life. And that's kind of what that is. I talk about those key points in anybody's life. You have to be clear about who you are and what you have to offer people. And whatever that is, it doesn't matter what profession or just anything in life. So I thought, okay, well, I guess now I'm going to write a book. I'm like, okay. So that's kind of how that showed up, and then it just went on from there.
Yeah. Well, and I love the titles of your books are so empowering: Courage, Find Your Fire, Own the Goddess Within, Soul on Fire. I mean, these are all really strong, empowering messages. And so I applaud you. I think it's great.
Thank you.
And how do you weave that in with your songwriting and your singing? Do you say, okay, this week working on the book, and next week I'll do singing, or do they happen concurrently?
No. It all I'm a message kind of gal. So I'm always thinking about things from the music perspective, a lyricist. So I'm writing those things first usually. And then the books came up out of just out of a thought of like, do I have anything of value to share with other people besides just music and just lyrics? Like, what would, that's how I got to clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and community, because that's kind of my life. Like, that's the process that I took to get myself where I'm at now. You've got to have all of those things in order to achieve inner peace, and to achieve, whatever it is that you want in your life to actually move forward. You have to be in action. And that was one of the things that I really set forth too, is, music, unity, and action. Like, those are really key things. And in order to get to those things, you have to have clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and community. So
Yes.
that's kind of what I lead in with life. And if that supports anybody, I'm super happy,
Yeah. That's, do you have retreats or gatherings of people as they're reading your books, or through the Global Badass Goddess?
Yeah, actually, starting next year in 2025, I think in June, I'm going to be stepping forward with Dr. Madeline. And also, we've invited Dr. Jacqueline to join us with a retreat, a 3-day retreat in the UK in Dover.
Mhm.
So we're excited. We're in the process of building that right now, and it's going to be fantastic. There's only 20 spaces available, maybe a little bit more, but I think we're at about 20 right now. So it's going to be a fabulous
Mm.
3-day holiday, dive deep within your spirit and come out empowered on the back end. So we're delighted that we get to offer that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that sounds fantastic. And think I think June, you said June, probably June of 2025.
Yeah, I think we have the date. I think it's nothing's up yet on the site, and we need to build that back in. So that's not quite ready yet. It won't be until probably after the first of the year. So, but yeah, that first week of June, I think, Dr. Jacqueline will be in the UK, and so we've invited her to join us on that retreat weekend, and we're super excited about her, what she has to offer, and there'll be more information. I'm sure we'll be able to talk more about it as we get a little closer. But that's it. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline.
Yeah. It
June
sounds like
6th, 7th, and 8th.
yeah. And my impression is that's a great time to also be in England, in the UK. It's a beautiful time of year. So it sounds like,
Absolutely.
yeah, oh my gosh, it sounds like a wonderful time.
Yeah.
So, but I can also understand waiting until after the Grammys to really turn your focus to
Yes.
that.
Yes,
So,
yes, it's a lot right now, so
yes.
yeah, it's crazy. You're thinking, "Oh, it's just go down and go to the event and it's a party," You're like, "Oh my god, no, there's so many things that are asked of one, even as a
Yes.
nominee," it's, like, amazing, yeah.
I can only imagine. And during this time, do you find that you have to put extra emphasis on your own self-care? That do you have
Yes,
a lot of people
absolutely.
coming at you for things and
Absolutely. Yep, yep. Yes. Yes. And everything sounds so fun. It's like, "Yes, I wanna do that," It's like, "No, not necessarily." Everything has to be I'm glad I have skill sets with organization and, timing and things like that. I have a lot of skill in that. So, I think for me, it's just gonna be a matter of opportunities that come in. You just gotta like, "Yeah, I'll schedule that," or, "No, that's not a fit for me." So, yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, one question I have is because although you are an author kind of on your own, I mean, you didn't collaborate with anybody in your books and you're a singer-songwriter, you certainly collaborated with so many people and, musicians and other people, other women. And I'm curious to know, like, to me, it seems like we all face a point where we're faced with a decision. Are we going to persist through something and keep going or give up? And I'm curious to know if you've noticed any specific factors in a person that kind of help determine which way they're going to go, whether they're going to persist through the challenge or give up. And do you see any commonalities?
Yeah. It's mindset. I think first and foremost, foundational, it's your mindset, you
Mm.
know, um, again, I'm gonna go back to, foundational clarity because you have to really if you've got some negative self-talk, you have to be first of all, you have to be really conscious, like, "Oh, that's an issue. Oh, listen to what I just said." You know what I mean? If that's
Yeah.
being very conscious, being very mindful. And then once you're at that place, then the next question is, what's your choice?
Mm.
Oh, well, I can't get out of this. And oh, wow, it's just repeating on a loop, and then you've got to start looking for some support. Sometimes it is outside of yourself, sometimes I mean, always the work is within, but sometimes you need a helping hand. I know for me, over a year ago, I worked with Karen Green. She's out of Switzerland. No, not Switzerland. Sorry. She's from Sweden, and she does shadow work. And her shadow work is amazing. It's Carl Jung, it's that stuff, and looking at the archetypes, and really looking at the shadow self, and that really helped me a lot. And I worked with her for a year, just really reprogramming. Anything you can do to reprogram yourself, whether, like you were saying earlier, if there's your mantra, or like finding someone that maybe does shadow work, just so you can get a hold of what's going on in the background. Is that mine, or was that something that my parents told me? Those kind of things. You're gonna have to just start looking and finding the passion and the desire and the persistence to say, okay, I want to move through this, and I want to move myself into a position where I'm actually a contribution to not only myself, but my family and the world around me. How am I showing up? Am I showing up like an ass, or grumpy, or angry? What is that for you? Like, where is the origin of that? There's always an origin. And then, as you were saying, once you can get in on that insight, find what's next for you. Like, how can you get some support in that to help pull you out of that pit of some sort, and stay with it, stay with all of it. The persistence is so key. And so I think that's how I would approach it. Or have approached it, I should say.
Yeah, I think those are great points. And as I was listening to you, I also thought, I've heard the phrase, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because sometimes those journeys aren't always comfortable, but that's how we come out the other side,
Totally.
and really get where we want to be.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know now, at this point, how do you define success for yourself, and has that changed over time?
That's a great question. I think as a young woman, knowing that I love to sing, and just being unconscious about it, and just one foot in front of the other, just like da da da. I just kept doing what I love to do. At some point, I got a little more conscious of, like, oh, if you want to sustain your life in this business, you need to write music. Oh, things like that. That's how you make music. And that was a different phase. It's not so much like that now. Of course, the business is the business. But I think I kind of lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. I tend to want to do origins. I go back to, like, when did it start? Can you repeat your question one more
Oh,
time?
sure, absolutely. And I think you were on a perfect track with it. Just how do you define success now?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Has
Yeah.
that changed? Yes.
Yeah. So for me, success now is simplicity is really key. So I'll say a real simple word. I just want to sustain my life in music. Okay. I want to get paid for it. So I think that's the simplest thing. But beyond that, what it is for me now, success is not so much the accolades or whatever. It's nice to be acknowledged. It's nice to have, like, for the Recording Academy basically is your peers. So it's a high level of musicianship, and they are your peers. So yes, being acknowledged for that is amazing. And that's kind of how I see the nomination, is that the work that I've put in, I'm actually being acknowledged. And so that's what feels good, is the acknowledgement. It's not so much the win or the trophy or the badge or whatever. For me, that's not the win. The win is the heart connection with the other artists, that we have a common thread, which is expression through art, and meeting those people and connecting with them, and just having a beautiful experience, and to see what you can create next, as far as art goes, and to uplift everyone. I think that's the win. That's what is in it for me now. and the rest will evolve and show up. I feel like that's how it's going to happen.
Oh, thank you. I love that. As you were talking, I was hearing your C's in my head. It was clarity. You're clear about that. And so, yes, thank you. And, you know,
Yeah.
we've touched a little bit about the future where the Grammys are coming up in early February and you're planning the retreat in June. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us about the future? Are you working on another album? What are your plans looking ahead?
Yeah, that's still, I think I am. I think that's where we're going. We're trying to take a few of the tracks that we had been working on and then pulling them into like an EP, maybe like 4 to 6 songs, maybe for next year. I don't know. It needs to be strategized. But I think, you know, for me, it's also letting people know that anytime you support me, like if you're buying my merch or my books or, you know, listening to my music, I track that. So I know that who's buying what. And then what I do is I actually work with One Tree Planted, and I take $1 off of whatever you've purchased, and I actually go plant a tree, not personally. Not personally. Everyone goes, you go out and plant trees. I go, no, I work with One Tree Planted. I give them $1 off of everything that anyone's purchased. And so I can track that, which is really awesome. We're about up to 400 trees now. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also an ambassador for environmental, he's passed away. I was on a board with that. We're with Foundation for Climate Restoration. And so I'm kind of in the insiders on what's happening next with how do we consume the carbon that we've put out basically and transmute it. So those are some of the things that I'm passionate about, and I really want to support people to look deeper, not only, you know, take care of here first, get yourself healthy, and then you have the space to, you know, start helping other people, other situations, helping our planet, you know, taking the pressure off basically. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for that. That's so important. And thank you for helping individuals and also the planet with the trees. That's very powerful. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I love it.
Yes.
It makes me feel good. And it makes me, you know, I like people to know that, you know, you're helping me as an artist, and then I get to help you and I get to help them, you know, plant a tree. So it's kind of like it helps everybody. It's like, this is awesome. It's like this works, you know, this really works. This way of, you know, you're not just throwing money into a charity that you're not really sure about, or, you know, that type of thing. You're actually, you know, every time, you know, I take that $1 and I buy that tree for you, and we planted either in Northern California, I've done Canada, I've done the UK for sure. I do a lot in the UK because I love it there. You know, you know, your name goes on that tree, you know, in the psyche. So not literally, but you know, those people are planting that tree and they're going, thank you, you know. So
yeah, it really is. We really are a village, the global village. So thank you. And before we wrap up, I just have 2 last things. The first is, can you please let us know how people can connect with you?
yeah. Super simple. You can go to my website, Glenda Music, which is really easy, not Glenda Benevides. It's glendabenevides.com, but that gets challenging. So you can go Glenda, Glenda music.com. And you can just jump on my website, check it out. And then there's where it says contact. You can just, boom, you can reach out to me and say, hey, you know, fill in the blanks there. I'm interested in this, or, you know, how does this work? Whatever you'd like to know. Also for interviews or anything like that. And my live performances too. I'll be doing some more things up in May, and then probably in the UK sometime towards the spring. So got a jazz combo that I'm going to be working with. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'll definitely keep my eyes on that. So thank you.
Yeah.
I want to just thank you so much for being here and sharing your story and your insights and where you are. And it, this will be the first time that I'll watch the Grammys and actually know someone who is nominated. So I also want to let you know you
Yes.
have a cheering squad in San Diego. So
Thank you. Thank you.
yes,
The fury.
yes, that's
The
right. Yes. So
fury.
I wish you all of the best, and I hope I get to talk with you again. This has been wonderful.
Yes. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate you too.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you too.
So thank you. What a fantastic discussion. I'm just amazed at what she's doing and what Glenda has learned and shared with us. So thank you so much. A couple of things. So you can connect with me on through the Ring Thing. My website is ringthing.com, and the Instagram is at ring_thing_. And I would love to connect. And I also wanted to close by just sharing a quote about persistence. And this is from Dennis Waitley. And he says, "As long as we are persistent in our pursuit of our deepest destiny, we will continue to grow. We cannot choose the day or time when we will fully bloom. It happens in its own time." And I think that's true. We can wish for things to happen immediately, and they will happen in their own time when they're meant to. And it's our role to just put in the effort and persist. Thank you for being here. The show is on every other Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time live, and you can always watch on YouTube at any time. So I'd like to thank USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Joplin for their support. Thank you so much.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacqueline.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting The Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the secrets of visual impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you.